is time. It is time to brew your best beer.
The 2017 SJPorr Challenge Gold sponsors. Bouncer, keeping the dregs out with their inline filter for homebrewers. The Brew Bag, simply the best way to brew great beer in your home. Yakima Valley Hops, with over 140 hop varieties available. Omega Yeast Labs, supplying homebrewers with high-quality yeast. And a special thanks to our silver sponsor, BrewTubers Online Brewers Club.
Well, it is time. It is time for the SJPorr Challenge. So, I went through and did all of my reviews via video. However, my camera messed up and I lost all my footage and the files were damaged or something, so I lost everything. But I wanted to be fair and at least go over my notes from what I had on each beer. So bear with me. This video might be a little bit long, but anyway, I'll put stops in it, I think, in the caption, so you can kind of go to whatever beer you had. So, all right. So the first beer I had was 79 Charlie, 32 Delta, 64 Bravo, and it's the Selling the 3 C's IPA. So this beer, when it come to me, you know, it looked like it had a little bit of leakage in the bottle. But after I inspected it and that kind of stuff and talked to Chris, I think it just had a little bit of residual, because I know that shipment of bottles that he got, there was 2 of them that was broken. So anyway, so I did this one first. Anyway, like I said, it's a Sailing the 3 C's IPA. So first thing off the bat, it had pretty good carbonation in it, which surprised me because I thought the bottle had leaked. It had a nice rocky, about 1 finger head on it, and it dissipated fairly quickly. It was slightly hazy, which, you know, doesn't surprise me considering it's an IPA. It had a really beautiful straw color on it. Let's see, the bottle was filled all the way to the top of the cap. So anyway, the aroma on the beer, it was really hop forward. I could get the hop aroma off of it. It had a very citrusy aroma to it. And I caught just a little bit of lemongrass in the aroma. So yeah, it smelled really good, and I was really happy with that. So on the flavor, immediately right off the front, I got that citrus mixed with a resinous pine. The orange kind of come through in the back end of it. Had a fairly light to, I'd almost say light to medium, but more on the light side, mouthfeel, and a slight dryness on the end. At the very end of the taste of the beer is when I caught that lemongrass taste into it. Not sure if that's from the hops or how that worked out, but overall, you know, it was a really nice balanced beer. So, kind of my overview of that beer. I would have liked to have had a little bit more hoppiness in the aroma of the beer. It was kind of overridden by kind of that citrusy type aroma. And I would have kind of liked to see a little bit more orange in the taste. But overall, it dries out nicely. It's a good beer. It's kind of a sessional IPA because I think this one came out at 5.3%. Yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good beer. So that again is 79 Charlie, 32 Delta, 64 Bravo, and that's a Sailing the 3 C's IPA. Okay, So the second beer that I had is 36 Zulu, 64 Victor, 43 Hotel. Okay, so on this beer, yeah, so it was right out of the bottle. It was a copper color, had a good steady carbonation coming up from the bottom. About a half finger head that dissipated very quickly. It was slightly clear, but it had more of a hazy character to the look of the beer. So on the aroma, I caught just a very small, slight hop presence. It was very sweet and malty, and it had kind of a berry, almost like a strawberry, in the aroma. So on the taste, the mouthfeel of this beer was really smooth to me. Had a slight piney taste to it from the hops, and even kind of like a little spicy. I don't know if it was peppery but just a spicy character to it. The berry flavor, that strawberry to me just seemed to come right straight forward. Right after that bitter of the beer, the strawberryness come right up front. And so it was a very interesting beer. So that malt sweetness is in the aftertaste, and again the carbonation was pretty decent on this beer. So overall, I really liked the beer. I thought the beer was good. The carbonation on it was pretty good. Loved the flavor of the hops and that berry flavor that kind of come through. It was just really interesting to me. But anyway, so that's my review on 36 Zulu, 64 Victor, 43 Hotel. All right, on to the next one. So the next beer that I had was the Northwest Barbarian Pale Ale. This is a 37 X-Ray, 39 Tango, 44 Papa. So this beer, as soon as I poured it, I got a really nice two-finger head, really fast carbonation bubbles coming up from the bottom. Had a kind of a rocky, pillowy head. It was a really, really clear beer, which I would expect from a pale ale, but it was nicely clear, and it kind of had a light copper, almost a straw, like that straw that's been sitting there for a little bit. Excuse me, out in the field, how it gets that coppery color that goes along with it. But a really pretty beer. So right off the bat on the aroma, I got just the coolest like pineapple / clove aroma that come off the beer. It initially hit me as a pineapple, which was kind of interesting because I don't know, it just is what it is. But yeah, then the clove spiciness that was in the aroma, I thought it was pretty nice smelling beer. Upon the taste of the beer, I wrote down, it says something's off, kind of the off flavor. I caught just a little bit of a medicine-y taste to it. It had kind of a grassy hop profile, but the mouthfeel on it was medium, and it had a good carbonation. So I don't know if the medicine-y was more kind of, I don't know if I was tasting the pineapple clove from the aroma, but there was just something just slightly off in it that gave me a medicine taste in it. Anyway, that I can't really explain that much more about it, but it did have it had a citrusy kind of anyway, just kind of a citrus medicine, if that makes sense. But overall, on this beer, I really loved the look of it, and the aroma of the beer was great. That pineapple clove aroma that just really kind of come out of it. The taste is just a little bit off to me, and it kind of got a grassy flavor to it. So I'm not sure if it was something in your mash or maybe your hop additions or something, or maybe it's just me. But anyway, that's the 37 X-Ray, 39 Tango, 44 Papa, the Northwest Barbarian Pale Ale. Okay? All right, so the next beer that I had was the Honey Blonde Hopped Up Ale. It's a 25 Papa, 38 Romeo, 65 Juliet. So this beer, it kind of intrigued me. The label on it was beautiful. It had a honeybee on it with the honeycombs behind it. It was kind of cool. Anyway, so when I opened it, I had a slight hiss. Had a nice rocky, about a 1.5 finger head on it. Had some good bubbles, carbonation bubbles coming up and clinging to the side as it come up the beer. Let's see, clarity. The clarity on this beer, I would almost say, was pretty close to a commercial grade. There was very, very little slight haziness to it. It was a beautiful beer. Kind of a, that dark, kind of a brownish honey color. But anyway, it was a beautiful beer. And the looks of it was really nice. So upon the aroma of it, right up front, I could definitely smell the honey in it, and almost like a brown sugar, if you will. So if you mix brown sugar and honey, which is really good for barbecue, by the way, but brown sugar and honey, you get this kind of caramelly, sweetness that has that honey and brown sugar background to it. So if you mesh those two together, that's what I was getting off of it. So very, very little hop presence in this beer, in which I could understand it because it's a honey blonde, right? So I caught, like I said, that brown sugar, that honey sweetness, and the maltiness of it, and just a slight hint of a spiciness. And it probably come from the honey, but that honey brown sugar mixed with just a little spice nut into it was nice. So, blondes to me, the ones that I've had in the past have always been really light in the mouthfeel, and this one, held right there with it. It was fairly light. Had a great carbonation on it. The carbonation on this beer was really, really good. Had that slight honey, brown sugar mixture with that spicy sweetness that was in it. Had a very, very slight hop bitterness, which I would expect from a blonde. But it was right on the end of the beer. So you get that honey sweetness, the brown sugar that kind of goes over your tongue, the little spicy note that's kind of mixed in there a little bit, goes over your tongue, and then just as it starts to go away, you get just a little bit of a hop presence. It was a really nice beer. And it dried out pretty good. It was, fairly dry on the end. So overall, I said that this was a beautiful looking, commercially quality beer. I love that honey brown sugar mixture in it, and the aroma and the taste. Overall, it was a good beer, and I really enjoyed it. So on to the next one. So the next one I had was the East Meets West Double IPA. And this one was 82 Victor, 24, can't even read my own writing. Let's see, 82 Victor, 24 Lima, 98 whiskey. All right, there we go. So again, this is the East Meets West Double IPA. So when I first opened this beer, there was a very, very, very slight hiss. As I poured it out into the glass, I noticed right off the bat it was kind of a copper hazy beer. It gave me just about maybe a half a finger head, and I poured it pretty rigorously. But the head was, kind of pillowy, very, very small amount of carbonation coming up from the bottom. But again, fairly hazy copper looking beer. It wasn't nice looking, typical double IPA look. Right off the bat, after I, put the nose in it, I got a sweet grapefruit. It was almost like, how do I put it? Well, when I was a kid, my mom and dad used to give me a grapefruit and he'd bite into it to open it up. And so when I bite into the rind of that grapefruit, you get that little bit of spray that comes off from you cracking that open with your teeth. And that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of that just really fresh burst of grapefruit. I got a slight spiciness to it. I wanted to say it was kind of a clove flavor, aroma to it, and a mild citrus again that accentuates that grapefruit. The hop aroma was present. It wasn't really overpowering at all, but I did catch like fresh Christmas tree type pine needles in it. But just very, very slight. So then, on the taste of the beer, I did catch that resinous pine needle that hit right front, but it was slight. It was very slight. And then the grapefruit kind of come in as a secondary flavor to it. It was, in a really, really nice grapefruit flavor. But the carbonation on this beer was just really, really low. I just think that it would have brought more to this beer in the taste and the aroma, had the carbonation been a little higher. But anyway, so yeah, that piney grapefruit, had a nice dry finish. It's kind of a light, mouthfeel to it. And when I finished that first taste of beer, I had that pine needle, that citrus just kind of coating the inside of my mouth and my tongue. And just a really nice dryness that come into it. So overall on this beer, I would have liked to have had this beer had it been carbonated correctly, or better, let's put it that way. Not correctly, better. Because I know shipping makes a big difference. And the carbonation profiles. I have a sneaking suspicion that if you live at a high altitude and you're sending your beer to a low altitude area, the carbonation is going to change in the beer. Just saying, just throwing it out there. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But yeah, so I would have liked to have had a little bit more carbonation in this beer. The taste follows the nose well. And it has a really nice balance of that sweetness and the bitter. I would have liked to have seen or been able to taste that same grapefruit taste that I got in the nose. It was subdued just a little bit, but I would have liked to have seen that. And for a double IPA, I would have liked to had more hop bitterness in the beer. I love IPAs. I've been known to kick up into the 100 plus IBUs and that type of stuff. So that may be just a personal thing for me. But I would have liked to have seen just that real fresh grapefruity taste to it and that really big hop presence right off the bat that kind of followed all the way through the beer. But overall, it was a great beer. I appreciate you sending it out to me. So the next beer that I had was ID number 73 Sierra, 88 Oscar, 56 Bravo. And this was the Old Dog New Trick Double IPA. So the label on this was pretty cool. It had, a little dog sitting at a table and it was a really, really cool label on it. So upon pouring this beer out, right off the bat, it was kind of, again, that typical double IPA, copper, honey color, straw, if you will. I got just a little bit over a finger head on this beer. Nice rocky, nice rocky head on it. It was fairly hazy. But it was kind of weird because you could see through the beer, but you could definitely see the haze in it. And but with a double IPA, it is what it is. You know, that haze comes from you know, all the hops and everything that you put into it, so that's a good thing. But it had just slow rising bubbles coming up from it on the carb. Again, it is what it is. So as soon as I cracked the bottle of this beer, I could catch that citrus, just citrus for days. And it was kind of a cross between like a grapefruit, orange, even into the tangerine type aromas that was coming off of it. There was a nice subdued spicy note to it. And I tried to put my finger on it. And in fact, I even went to the spice rack and pulled out some spices. And the one that I could get closest to was just like a very slight paprika. So anyway, very interesting aroma on this beer. The hop presence on it was slightly piney, which I would expect from a double IPA. Had even kind of a little earthy undertone, and I can't for the life of me pin down whether it was the paprika aroma that I was catching, or maybe just a little bit of that earthy tone to it. Anyway, my nose ain't the best anymore, so there you go. And it had a slight sweetness, just the, you know, and what I can bring it up to is, you know, you go into the local homebrew store and you go over to like a Crystal, you know, 20 or 40 level bond, take a little bit, throw it in your mouth, and you get that nice caramel sweetness that comes out of that grain. So anyway, there you go. All right, so on the taste, so I had a really nice hop presence up front with that pine resinous type, almost mouth coating to a certain degree, and then that malty sweetness kind of come right in after that, along with a citrusy, you know, just that grapefruit type, tangerine, orange, all of those flavors kind of hit the back of my tongue. Yeah, so it was smooth and really silk. It kind of reminisced of like maybe a lactose into the beer, or use like barley or oats or something to that effect to give that kind of that full silky mouthfeel to it. So I wouldn't be surprised, and you can tell me later on or whatever, but if you used a little bit of lactose in it, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, that orange, tangerine, grapefruit really come out in it, along with just that nice hop bitterness that reminded me of like you know, a pine needle resin. Overall, really like this beer. It was a very good hop aroma and malt sweetness that I would expect from a double IPA. Carbonation, you know, I think carbonation again in this beer would have brought up that level of aroma and taste, just accentuate those aromas and flavors. But overall, again, a really nice beer. All right, so let's go on to where are we at here? That was my old dog new tricks. Okay, so now on to ID number 78 Fox, 37 Sierra, 83 Echo, and this is the black double IPA. Okay, so here we go. When I got this bottle of beer, it's a 9% beer. It's a big beer, and so I saved it for last because I wanted to. I did it on a night where I didn't have any beers, and I wanted to just be able to really critique this beer, because to me, a 9% beer is a big beer. And oftentimes that I've seen, you get a lot of booziness out of a 9% beer. And so I wanted to be really fresh when I tried this beer. So on the appearance of this beer was black. But when you put a light up behind it, you could just see through it. So it was a clear beer, but it was black, almost opaque. I mean, without a bright flashlight behind it, you just couldn't see through it. But it was beautiful. It had a nice 2-finger head, nice pillowy head that come across, and it was like just a pretty tan color. The head stayed around for a little while, but when it started to dissipate, it went fairly quick. High ABV beer, understandable. So I took this beer and did the aroma on it, and I got the coolest toffee note off of this beer. It had a really nice malt sweetness. The hop aroma, when this beer was cold, the hop aroma was there, but that toffee aroma that I got off of it was more present. As this beer warmed up, the hop aroma really come out in it, and the hop was, I know it was Cascade, Centennial, and Columbus, but because that's the required hops. But I'll tell you, the hop aroma that I got off of this was a very dark fruit, almost like a plum, and just a little bit of that piney. No, I don't want to say piney. It was just a little bit of like that. When you cut a pine tree and that sap starts to come out, and that aroma that you get off that, I could catch that in it along with that toffee. And it was just a really cool aroma on this beer. So upon tasting the beer, the initial thing that I got off of it was that coffee/toffee color or flavor in it. It had a really nice hop bitterness right up front, and it went throughout the beer as far as that's concerned. However, it had a really nice sweetness from the malt. It was really kind of a medium to light mouthfeel, but it was smooth. It was very smooth. Upon drinking this beer, I would have never guessed that it was 9%. Okay, sorry about that. I had to go take care of something real quick, but anyway, so I think I left off with never really thinking it would have been a 9% beer. So I had a really good carbonation on this beer. The hop bitterness, it's nice. It mixes with that toffee and that coffee background really well. Just a really balanced beer. So overall, for this beer, it was a great double black IPA. Very balanced. Had a great coffee/toffee taste to it. As this beer warmed up, I did catch a little bit of that alcohol, high ABV heat off of it, but only after it was warmed up. When it was cold, 38 degrees coming out of the fridge, that alcoholness, that high ABV, that heat that wasn't really present. So, but yeah, very, very nice balanced beer. It was very complex beer. But yeah, I could definitely drink a couple more. Let's put it that way. So I believe that's it for my SJPorr 2017 round 1 pawn round. again, I have to apologize for the video. Hopefully this doesn't happen, you know, next year at a later date, whatever. So this is my first round SJPorr beer. I really liked it. It was a pretty good beer. Still like it. So cheers to y'all. But anyway, good luck to everybody. I hope those that entered the contest will enter again next year. This is a great challenge. I've really enjoyed it. I did it last year and this year, and anyway, can't say you know. I'm losing my words. Anyway, it's a great challenge. It's a great challenge, and so hopefully we'll move on to the next round. And y'all take care, and good luck to you.